absolutely impressed. And I'm so excited to be here to talk about with you how we can be innovative in this crazy time that's hard to comprehend. I can't even hear. Sorry, guys. But happy to be here. When Clément reached out, I was so excited. So let's have a great session.
Cool. Thank you so much, Ali, for being with us. Thank you for all of you for joining this second session. Without waiting more, we'll jump right into this first activity that I'll offer. This is an activity that was inspired by the Stanford Design School. It's an activity that some of you might have done. We do have a little bit of echo, so if you don't mind muting yourself, it's going to ensure a smooth experience for others if it's not already done. Cool. So we're going to jump right in with the first activity. This activity is called How Might We? But in order to do this activity, I will share with you an online collaboration tool. Before I share the tool, I'm just going to do a screen share with you and just walk you through some of the features. So can I get a thumbs up from people that they can see the screen, my screen? So welcome to Mural, mural.co. This is a tool you can use with your team. And it's basically a great collaborative mural that you can get as many people as you want to jump on board, add post-its, and move around on the space. Basically on your mural here, you have little controls at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen where you can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can move around on our big mural. And here are some of the most interesting features. On the top left, you'll find this box where you can add text onto the mural. And when you click on text, you get—
I don't think we can see your screen actually.
Oh, lots of people can't see the screen. This is the beauties of technology. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to stop the screen share and bring it back. All right, is this better?
Yeah.
Cool,
perfect.
Thumbs up. So back on Mural, basically bottom left here, you've got controls that allow you to scroll around the mural. You can zoom in, you can zoom out. On the top left here, you'll find this beautiful little post-it looking icon where you can add text and where you get a full array of post-its that you can have fun just dragging and dropping onto our beautiful collaborative mural. Below this icon, you'll find that there's other shapes you can add. You can add different icons. My one warning is that a lot of people, when people hop on Mural, they'll click on this very top button here, which is called Back to Dashboard. And if you do that, you'll be out of this Mural. So just be wary not to click there, but to click on the post-it. And just like everything, the best way to learn to use it is to give it a try. So in a second, I will be sharing with you a link into the Zoom chat that will allow you to join right into the mural. And I'll let you enter. I'll let you get a little familiar. I warn everyone, this is a great tool for creative chaos. So it might get a little chaotic with 50 people adding and contributing to the mural. And so
that's what makes it fun.
Exactly. So if you want, oops, I've shared the link privately. Here you go. The link has been shared into the chat. You can just join right in from that link and you'll be welcome to the mural on which we will start the first activity. I'm seeing people pouring in. Great. If you want to just practice a little bit and try to put a post-it on, have some fun, write a note for your peers, write a welcome words, feel free. Yes. Great. If you're having issues with Mural, now's the time to voice it, or you can write it in the chat, or if you have a specific question about the tool before we get started. Lots of life. I love it. It looks like a zoo. I've got some anonymous animals with me. Charleston, you're asking if it's free. The truth is right now, Merle has a free demo for 3 months where you can use it absolutely free. If not, they have a pricing structure that's not so crazy. But if not, there's another app called Miro, M-I-R-O. And if you're affiliated with a university or with a educational body, Miro is absolutely free. And it's very, very similar, just not as friendly when people are not within your team. So that's why I chose to use Merle today. But you can definitely use Merle for the next 3 months with your team while we're online, or you can try to give Miro a go right away. All right. So no one shouted that they're having issues with their Merle, so we're going to get started. First challenge I have for you is called the cleanup. I'm going to invite you to clean up our beautiful whiteboard. You can delete your post-its, the others. I'm just going to keep that top, how might we post it, posted. This is a great team. I love how we can toss challenges in. All right. As people finish helping out with the cleanup, I'm going to introduce the first activity. Very simple. It's called How Might We activity, but it is an extremely powerful activity to help you identify what are your most pressing priorities right now. And it's an activity that you can easily do with your project managers, with the different people within your Enactus team, to have them realize what are your most pressing issues right now. So it's very simple how it's going to work. I'm going to do a share screen for those who want to follow with me. How it's going to work. When I say go, we're all going to, can you see my screen? Can I get a thumbs up? Yes. When I say go, you're all going to be allowed to take whatever post-it size, whatever color you want. And on your post-it, you will be asked to write I'm going to do a demo. How might we, HMY, and then whatever question comes to your mind regarding your leading Enactus in these times of COVID. So for example, how might we run efficient meetings from afar? That would be just one example amongst many others. Then you can copy paste your post-it, or you can create a new post-it with a new color, and you're going to be trying to generate, I'm going to give you 3 minutes top chrono to generate as many how might we questions as possible. And literally everyone can pitch in. How might we run team buildings from afar? How might we communicate better? Whatever question comes to your mind that might help you be a better leader at your Enactus team. And Enactus program managers, feel free to chip in and add your how might we questions too.
Oh wow, got filled really fast.
50 heads on board, that's what we love. And someone is joining in through phone. Is it Siobhan? If ever you've been calling into the session, what I invite you to do is on a piece of paper, just write as many how might we questions regarding your Enactus team. And at the end of the session, we'll be able to share the resulting Merle, so you'll get a glimpse at what others been working on too. Meanwhile, I'll give a last minute for you to continue adding as many how might we questions as possible. All right. So usually at this point, some people are amazed and love the Merle that was created, and some people are freaked out because this is too much creative chaos for them. And this is normal, and you'll see that within your own Enactus team, there's some people with whom you'll be working that always want to put order, and some people who always want to go for creativity and thinking outside the box and divergence process. But basically what I'm going to say next, and I am hoping that we can get literally 49 hands on deck with this activity, is I will invite us to try and sort through all of the how might we questions that were generated on the Merle and clump them together with related how might we questions. So basically, everyone feel free to move post-its around, feel free to shrink them a little bit to grow them, but try to find ways to match and create categories of how might we's.
Next time we should put some music.
Couple more minutes, please, please, please don't hesitate to try to bring order and move things around, and don't be insulted if people move things back around after you. The more we all put our hands at it, the more sorted it will become. One more minute. Mazdak, you want to put the screen up, please? So just to help some of you understand the process we're going through, we're going to share with you, if you want to come back to the Zoom link, Mazdak is doing a screen share on what we call the Divergent, Emergent, Convergent process. This is a facilitation technique that is commonly used, but basically you as a leader, the more you learn to manage those space, divergent, emergent, and convergent space, the more you'll manage to lead your teams in efficient meetings, the more you'll be able to facilitate a productive ideation session. And basically in facilitation technique, when we talk about that divergent space, it's an opening. It's about seeing all possibilities. So if we just bring it back to the activity we just did, when we just put out all of those high might we questions, we were in what we call a divergent phase. Following the divergent phase, there's usually this time of exploring and navigating, which in English we often call the emergent time, which is a little bit what we're doing now, where we're trying to start sorting ideas, seeing which one are interesting, which one we want to push further. And sometimes there's ideas that we'll group together. There might be ideas that we drop out. But often once you've explored all the possible, then you want with your team to start having that discussion around which of those ideas do you want to keep, which ones are related, and so on. And then the third phase, and if ever you've been in a horrible, endless meeting, it might have been because everyone around the table were really good at diverging, but weren't good at converging. But the last phase is often seen as convergence, and it's about making a decision and coming back to some choice or narrowing down the possible. And the truth is, this is a process that you often use in cycles. So you'll, within a meeting, you can diverge, emerge, converge, diverge, emerge, converge. But right now, if we bring it back to the process, you'll have noticed that we first diverge by looking at all those how might we question. Now we had this time to explore and create those categories, which I see on the screen around recruitment, creative, virtual efficiency, adapting projects, supporting team, and motivation. And now the next little activity I'm going to give you is about converging. It's about how can we 50 people come up and choose a few topics that we want to discuss further and ideate upon during this session. And so Mazdak, if you want to take the slide off, I'll invite you. I'm going to do a quick share with you to explain to you the next step of this process, which you can use in many, many settings with your team, whether it's at whiteboard or whether it's using Mural online. But what I'm going to invite you all to do is, if you see my screen share here, you'll see that under the text item on Mural, there is an icon item where you can all add a little star like this to the Mural. I'm going to invite each one of you to pick one star and place it on the one post-it that feels the most important for you to discuss today with the group. So this is called Dotmocracy in terms of facilitation, and it's going to allow us to get 50 opinions of which post-its you want to discuss today. You can also copy paste a star if you prefer. And we'll give you a good couple minutes so that you can actually read through and see what feels most important for you to further and to brainstorm about with the rest of the team today. a last minute to read through and pick which how might we question feels most relevant to you to explore with the group today? All right. So if you haven't had a chance, feel free to finish that that challenge of putting that star on the one you were hoping to discuss. Basically, what's going to happen next is we are going to explore different ideation techniques. So now that we've converged the first time, we're going to start from those post-its that got the most how might we. For instance, how might we recruit new members? How might we keep your current members motivated? How might you keep student engagement? So I'm going to sort through these, but before, I'd be curious to have you think a little bit, what makes a good ideation session? And so in a minute, I'm going to split you in groups of 3. You'll have 5 minutes to discuss with your team. And basically with your group, just have a conversation and try to literally, it's almost ideation inception. You'll have 5 minutes to talk about, to ideate around how do you have a good ideation session. And then we're going to bring it back together. And we're then going to walk through different ideation techniques that you'll be able to reproduce with your team to have them generate solutions to their pressing challenges. Any questions before we break out? All right, then you've been invited to a break. Everyone trickled back into this main room. I'd be curious to hear from the conversation you have in your subgroup. What are things that stood out to you on how to run a great ideation session?
I don't mind start. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, thanks. I think one of the main things is just to be open to hearing different opinions, different ideas, and to not be too locked in on wanting to do a certain thing one certain way. Because when you hear other people's ideas, other people's opinions of approaching a certain issue, there might be something that you've never thought of before, and that might be better than anything you've ever had before, right? So just being open to change and open to listening to all these different points would be really beneficial for the team to make a cohesive decision.
Great point you're bringing there. And in facilitation technique, one of the things we put on what you said, Xander, there is deferred judgment. When you're in ideation, all ideas are good, and then you'll take a time to evaluate and judge the ideas. Great.
Sure.
Paisley, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, so kind of on the same boat. I'm outgoing president, so I've been running brainstorming sessions for, the past year. And I used to do it every second meeting. We'd have, we needed ideas on what next to do with our projects or what event we wanted to host. And what I do is I'd split up every person, no matter what their position is, even myself, and put us all into separate groups. Kind of do this, but in person, but it could be done on Zoom, and just kind of put all our ideas out there, brainstorming session, and then as a group come together to kind of narrow it down on what we feel could work.
Great point. Thank you, Paisley.
Yeah, just to build off a little bit off that of having a focused ideation. So, if you're focused on one problem, finding ideas that are applicable to that issue and not, going off tangents and, getting a little bit off focus, because just getting back to, Divergent and Convergent, you want the meeting to be, concise and focused at the end of the day. You don't want to be looking at solutions to different problems.
And I've seen so many people run ideation session where everyone are ideating on their own little things. So it just doesn't make sense. So making sure you have a sharp focus, then ideate, and then converge, and then ideate again. That's a great habit, Charan.
Some ideas coming through the chat around keeping and getting everyone comfortable and creating that safe space for them.
I'm going to put Catherine from Enactus Canada on the spot, but you mentioned icebreakers. Can you tell us about a great icebreaker to get people ready to ideate?
Yeah, so we didn't talk about any specific ones, but a good one is just like a pie in the sky. So like, what do you dream of? What's your goal, your dream, and it can be related to what you're going to discuss or not. It can be totally random, but just something to get everyone talking and everyone getting to know each other a little bit more.
Cool. Great, thank you, Catherine. Anyone else? Jaden, you mentioned organization. I'm a little curious to see what you mean in terms of organization, in terms of ideation.
When it comes to ideation, I think it's just important to know what you're going to talk about. Like me and my group were discussing, like, to never let the conversation go silent. Always have like specific topics that you want to talk about so that there's always a discussion happening, because it can be kind of awkward if you say, oh, like, how about this? And nobody says anything and you're just like, oh, okay. So like always find a way to always keep the conversation running. And I think if you maybe like plan ahead of time, like what specific points are most important to talk about, it'll help keep the ideation like organized and like keep it going.
Cool. Very good point. Thank you, Jaden. All right. So I think you've mentioned all of the essential, and I think the others are implied through the comment. But one other thing that people say in terms of facilitation is quantity over quality in times of ideation. And it's rare in life that people tell you that. But really, in terms of ideation, everything is okay, because it's afterwards that you're going to be judging the ideas. So on that note, I will be inviting you. We're basically the next step. We're basically going to use the priorities that you've identified on the mural, and we're going to brainstorm upon the 4 of the priorities that were marked by the most stars. And so what I suggest, one of the post-it that got many stars was around how might we recruit new members in these times. And so I'm going to offer you a facilitation technique that you might want to repeat with your team, which is called the brain dump. The brain dump is very, very simple. You'll need a paper and a pen. And basically, you will just start writing upon the prompt that I just gave, how might we recruit new members in these times? And you will just keep writing and writing and writing, never lifting your pen off the page, which means that maybe after 3 ideas, you'll have no clue what to say, and just write, I have no clue what to say, and keep writing and writing and writing all the ideas that come to mind for you when I say, how can you recruit new members in your team? Any questions about this brain dump technique? All right, then I will give you a solid 3 minutes for you to free write and brain dump as many ideas around how could you recruit new members to your team. And then I will put a few people on the spot asking them to share some of the ideas that came up. We'll give it one more minute, inviting you to keep writing, even if you're out of idea, that there'll be some more coming. All right, finish your sentence. And while you finish your sentence, I'm going to ask for one volunteer, someone who enjoyed the Merle app, who wants to take notes for the as we converge and harvest people's idea. There must have been one person that enjoyed the Merles. Man, I thought Enactus leaders would all step up.
I can do it.
Great, thank you, Petkis. And so basically, if you go on the Merle, I added a second grid on the right, in which we're going to do our idea harvest. So Petkis, if you don't mind adding post-its there. Around this first, how might we recruit new members for our team? And I'll, it's moving around. We'll let Petkis be our project manager on that. And so meanwhile, I'd be curious to hear from anyone here who wrote down a good idea that they'd like to share with the group around how we can recruit members in these times.
I have an idea. Can I share it?
Yes, please do, Rebecca.
Okay. So one idea I had was like to create a sort of competition within your team, to maybe promote your team members to go out and actually recruit people that they think would be a good fit for your school's Enactus team, and then like have a prize at the end. Like if you get 5 people to apply, you'll win a gift card or something like that. I don't know.
Love it. You hold your title well, Director of R&D, first one chipping in ideas. Thanks, Rebecca. Someone else?
So one of the things Enactus Queens is going to struggle with in the future is both of our presidents are 4th years, and the heads of our major projects are also 4th years. So one of the things we're going to struggle is keeping the momentum that we're growing once all of us have left. So one way that we can recruit new people to our team is give them the opportunity to learn this year and give them the understanding that this is a project that you can develop yourself after we're all gone.
Great. Thanks, Cam.
So one of the things we do like at our campus is we ask faculty advisor, like not only just faculty advisors, but also professors in general, just to keep an eye out for like per se star students and students that not only stand out, but also who share like the Enactus traits.
Great idea. And you also hold your title well, innovation and creativity, and right on pitching. Thank you, Vanessa.
Yeah, so
Anyone else?
One thing which we do is that we have collaborated with a few of the professors, and we have allowed the students that they don't need to submit a few assignments if they are with Enactus, and that has helped us a lot in recruiting because they don't need to do a few assignments, and they can work for Enactus instead.
Thank you, Satish. Great point.
Something that
sorry.
Go ahead.
Something that we do at Enactus St. Anne is that we plan activities as like a team. So we know that like we try to recruit like new people by saying like, yeah, we do projects and stuff, but we also invite them to do like, you know, fun activities with us, whether it be like bowling or just like, you know, like a night out or something like together, so they can like be like, okay, yeah, like there's like a team atmosphere and like this is like what Enactus is about too. It's not just like project too. Like it is like a community and like a family of students. So like we do it that way too, and like that way they can see like it can be like, you know, all about like business and stuff, but like when they come to our activities too, that gives them like an open kind of like more fun atmosphere to like ask their questions and stuff like that. So we try to plan like little like social like get-togethers and stuff like that. That's not really about like all Enactus, but it gives people like the opportunity and the comfortable space to ask questions if they do have any.
Great point, Jaden.
Something
Sorry?
we do at Laurier was contact pros, and we get them to put them into their introductory slides on announcements. Just you know, a quick 15-second slide that, you know, the entire lecture hall can see, and then, you know, it gets out to a really on a really massive scale. Anyone interested can take down the website.
Great, thank you. Isis?
Yes, one thing that we did last year and that really worked for us, and I'm hoping to continue this year, is doing something that we call Alumni Week, and showcasing our alumni from the past and how Enactus has helped them in their careers, and how they were able to get jobs because of their Enactus positions, and what opportunities you can get by being in Enactus team, and how your life could look like after Enactus. So that really works.
Thank you. Some great ideas in the chat too, that you can refer to, creating marketing materials for your team. Ali, you talked about posting an Enactus ad on the university college online portal, creating some interactive forum to give people a taste of Enactus, going viral on TikTok. Right.
Hi, so my point is that we always have something that is missing in our team. So it's more important to note down or jot down what talent you're missing and invite new members by creating job application accordingly so that we have different talents on our own teams.
Great. Thanks for adding that, Anya. I have seen students so often saying, we just want to recruit, without actually looking behind and thinking, what do they need in their team? So they could be more specific about recruitment. So that's a great tool.
Yeah,
great. So there's been quite a few ideas that's been shared. If ever you have a burning idea, I invite you maybe to join Petkis and feel free to add it to the grid that was created on the right of the mural for those who are following along. And thank you so much, Petkis, for taking the notes. So that was, I know this was short. I think there's already many ideas that were generated. And remember that above all, this is an activity you can repeat with your own team so that they brain dump the answers to your problem. But we're going to move on, and we're going to do a second little ideation technique. This is a technique I use a lot when I'm working with bigger groups, when I have groups of 20, groups of 50 people, and we're looking to ideate around a topic. I literally do a contest to see which group can generate the most ideas. And so I suggest that for this one, we're going to take the how might we question. How might we grow incubation businesses when we are virtual? So how might we grow incubation businesses? I'll extend it maybe also how can we grow projects while we're virtual? And I will split you up in groups of, let's go for groups of 3. You will have 3 minutes to generate as many ideas as possible. And when you come back in the central group, so in your group, you might want to appoint one person who takes notes and who writes them on the computer, because we'll ask you to copy paste the ideas in the chat afterwards, and just tag each idea, idea 1, idea 2, idea 3, idea 4. And I remember this is an activity for ideation, so you don't have to judge the ideas. Our goal is to see which group is going to generate the most ideas. Any question as I prepare the breakout rooms for you?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. The question is, how can we grow incubation businesses when we are virtual? Or how can we grow projects while being virtual? Is that clear? Great. So I'm creating the rooms and I am sending you out. And don't forget to have a scribe that scribes all the ideas, writing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because we want to see which of the groups will generate the most ideas. Enjoy. All right. So welcome back into the main room, everyone. This is the time. It is the contest. We want to see who had the most ideas. So I'm going to first ask in room 1, Kirtana, how many ideas did your team generate? or anyone from that room, breakout room 1, Meredith, Michelle, Mohed.
Oh, sorry, that's us. My bad. We had 5.
5 ideas. Anyone had more than 5 ideas in the room? You can speak it out.
Breakout room 3.
How many ideas did you have in breakout room 3?
We had 10.
10 ideas. Anyone went above 10?
Not sure
12.
what. Yeah, we had 12. Not sure what room we were.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know what room we were either.
Anyone beat
With
12?
Xander, we were room 2.
Room 2?
Room 2.
Yeah.
In room 4, we had 12 as well.
12 as well. Great. So, last call if anyone did beat 12. So we've got our champions. Good luck. But really, the champion is the amount of ideas that were generated. So I will ask the person who took note in your group, if you are able in Merle to copy paste all of your ideas and dump them into that beautiful second square where we're going to add that, where we're going to bring in that post-it around running ideation.
Clayma, should we put them all on one sticky note or should we put them all on separate ones?
It can be chaotic, so you pick what feels good to you.
Okay.
Lots of movement on the mural, and it is chaotic. Love it. Great. So I invite you, some people did manage to post them up. I will invite people to just have a fun and take a look at those. Meanwhile, is there a few people who might have heard an idea that they felt was a really good idea and that they want to voice it out to the group?
I'll start it off, Clément. Vanessa brought up a really great point in our group. We were group 14, and we talked about reassessing the needs assessment. So working with our project partners to evaluate if the need we were fulfilling before is in fact still a need in the current state.
Great point. The first thing we did at Sherbrooke University, well, for the Innovation Hub where I work out of, was do interviews with students to see how are they living the situation so we could adapt. So doing needs assessment is crucial. Any other great ideas you've heard that you'd like to voice out?
Just broadcasting like online on like LinkedIn or just social media in general, just what you're looking for, what you're trying to do is like, it's online. You never know who might stumble upon that and end up being a partnership for a business or a project.
The more you share, the more opportunities there is for the world to help you, indeed. A last voice?
If you're trying to, collaborate or work with people outside of Enactus, picking up the phone and calling them is a really great way to connect, because like to people that kind of says you're genuinely interested as opposed to just sending an email.
Great, Cam. And if we look on the mural, it is quite chaotic. Those who don't like creative chaos might have trouble with it, but there are a ton of ideas in the box. And there's actually some very interesting things that you might want to use. And so that's a new trick up your sleeve. If ever you are working with bigger groups and want to ideate, launching a who can generate the most idea contest can be a great tool. On that, I'm going to suggest we move on and learn a third ideation technique, unless someone had a burning comment on their lips. The next techniques I will invite you to discover is very simple. It's also from the design school. It's called the Crazy 8. Very simple. You need a piece of paper, and you invite everyone who you're working with to fold that piece of paper in two, then fold that piece of paper in two again, and fold that piece of paper in two a last time. So I will invite those of you who have a notebook, maybe to rip a page out or to find a paper, an old envelope at your place. Once you unfold the paper, you're going to end up with 8 squares, like you should be seeing in my screen if it's not the case. And basically how the Crazy 8 activity work is you are going to get 8-minute top chrono to, in each of these boxes, draw one idea. And our topic for this next ideation, if I can find back the mural, our topic is going to be how do we keep members engaged in these times of COVID? So basically, you should have a piece of paper that you've folded in half 3 times. When you unfold it, you should finish with 8 beautiful boxes. As soon as I start the timer, you're going to have 8-minute top chrono, meaning 1 minute per square, to draw in an idea to keep your members engaged for Enactus. All right. So as I start the timer, I will try something new, following up Mazdak's suggestion. I often, when I run this activity live, I usually put some music behind. And so I will be sharing my screen to some ratata music that I'm sharing with you too. So you might need to adjust the sound at first too. And if it's too much for you to handle the music, I will be writing in the chat after 8 minutes I'm done. You have the music. Ratata is great for ideation. Get started, 8 minutes, top chrono. Get those 8 squares filled with different ideas. How can you keep your screen engaged? in. For those of you who are fast on it and already have 8 boxes filled, the beauty of this activity is you can flip it over and you've got 8 more boxes to fill. 3 minutes left. Last 2 minutes, try to get at least 2 more ideas out. How to keep your team members engaged. All right, last minute. If you haven't yet, I want that last idea to be as funky as it can be. And that is time's up. All right. So this simple Crazy 8 activity drives some people crazy, but drives some people crazy with good ideas. And as you saw, it's super easy. You just need papers and pen, and it's an easy activity you can always have in the back of your pocket whenever you're working with different groups. And what's fun is it's also an ideation technique that you can use with groups of 100 as much as groups of 5 to generate many ideas. So keep it in mind for your future facilitation and Enactus meetings and so on. As a means to sharing what you just, your ideas, basically what I'm gonna offer is I'm just gonna break you out in little groups of 3, and you'll have 3 minutes so that each person has about 1 minute to share one of the ideas that they've placed in their square, and ideally show your beautiful drawings too if you can, and just share and explain the ideas so that you can learn from each other. So any questions before I break you out into the breakout rooms? Have fun sharing your crazy ideas.
Hi, I think my call disconnected.
Well, I'll be on the watch. If Nicole comes back, I'll let her in.
I think he's talking about his call got disconnected.
Oh, his call. Great, thank you, Hannah.
I do really good with translating, Adam.
Great.
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry if I offended you, Adam.
No, that was pretty on point. Thank you.
So I hope you had fun. Hope you shared some good ideas within your own group. I do realize there's so much more to be shared, and we will offer you at the end a way to connect and have best practice exchange with other members in the group. What I'm gonna dare do next is I will launch us on a very last, I know that it takes a lot of energy to ideate, but we will share a last ideation technique with you. It is basically it's called yes and. This is the greatest tool to do when you're working in a group where you need to ideate and there's one person that's stuck up and that does everything, that bashes every idea and that doesn't let anyone ideate. Whenever that comes up, you say, hey, let's do a yes and ideation activity. And how it goes, it's very simple. Everyone must start their sentence with, yes, I really like what you said. And you need to add something to the idea that was said. So I've never done this with such a big group before, and I have never done it online. But we're going to give it a go. Mazdak and I will just do a small example at first. Everyone, you must be paying full attention because afterwards I will call out on someone's name randomly. You must unmute your mic and say, yes, what I love about the last idea that was said was, and you must add to that idea. We'll see how it goes. It's a first, but I invite all of you to be really attentive. Great. And the question we're going to use for that was another question from the mural that had a lot of stars, one of the constellation. The question was, how might we make meetings and progress feel more tangible and real? So I repeat, especially when you're just doing lots of discussion and research. So how can we make meetings and progress feel more tangible and real? Mazdak, want to start?
The idea is, what if we put a GPS thing and say where we are at in the project, like a project GPS?
Yes, I love your idea about the GPS. And on top of that, we could use the new cool tool we learned, Mural, on which we could have our GPS written. Catherine Quinn from Enactus, you're next.
I love using the idea of using all of the cool tools we have to collaborate. And could we also come up with action items for every team member for our next meeting?
Jashin, you're next.
Yes, I love the idea of coming up with actions. Why don't we also planning out in the paper so that we can visualize seeing those actions that's been done?
Carter, you're next.
I love the idea of visualizing all of the actions that you have to do, and I think that you should also color code everything so that you can look back and see who's doing what.
Moheb, you're next.
Yes, I think that's a great idea to color code everything to see what they're doing and create some method of being able to hold everyone accountable for their work. And yeah.
Brian, you're next. Your mic, Brian.
I love that. I think it's very important that we keep everyone accountable
And what if we could see it also on a time scale, so we could see what they have done in the past and what they will be doing in the future?
Ali Daniel, you're next.
I love the idea of incorporating time into your action items. And what if we also rewarded people when they achieved those action items, whether it be a virtual star or a Tim Hortons gift card?
Great. You got the concept. This is just another tool that you can add in your ideation tricks. But I tell you, when you have some people who are stuck up and who you just can't get some good ideation with them because they bash every idea, just do this little activity with them and it's going to change the mood in the room. And I'm actually amazed that we managed to do it through Zoom. So apparently it's even a trick you'll be able to use in your remote meeting communication. So cool. Thank you all for all of your creative juice to get through those 4 ideation techniques. Our time is already coming to an end, so I'd be curious to maybe have all of you just take a minute and say, from this crazy session where we exploded ideas on our mural, where we ideated, shared in little pods and so on, what's one thing you're going to be taking away and taking back to your team? We'll give you 1 minute to just think about it, and then we'll get people to share. And Mazdak, meanwhile, do you want to put our debrief slide up, please? So I'd be curious hearing from a few folks, and I might be curious starting maybe with some of those who haven't shared much during this session, if you got anything out of the session. So maybe Kalissa, is there anything you'd like to share that you've taken from the session?
Yeah, I think just some of the tools that we used were really cool. And just kind of some of the ideas we discussed for recruitment and engagement were really useful.
Cool, thanks for sharing. Noor?
Yeah, I think just even looking at how this Ideation Summit was conducted online, we're all learning how to use Zoom in our own ways and how the breakout rooms could be used in our own sessions. I think just even learning how you guys hosted this and applying it to our own sessions is highly beneficial.
Cool, thank you, Noor. Lukeman?
Hi. Yeah, I thought this session was really impactful as to like the different tools that we can do to engage our teams and improve like motivation, and also the different like the process to ideate with our team. I think it would be super cool to put them into action. So yeah.
Great, thank you so much. And I see some great comments in the chat, including Brian, who said lots of fun. And man, fun is so critical and so important with your team, because if people aren't having fun, they won't stay engaged. We'll take a few more comments. Anyone who wants to share anything they'll be taking forward?
Hi, I'm taking the thing like, rewarding team members thing. That's so cool. And it will keep everyone on the like everyone actually care for each other. It actually resembles in a way maybe Tim Hortons cards or maybe a coffee or something like that. It always keeps us motivated.
Nice, thank you, Anya.
I actually had a question.
Please.
Yeah, so I think like the process of ideating is great, and I think like the one thing I took away was that it's important to create a free-flowing environment where people can share, but there comes a time where that you have to choose a few ideas, and it's not that no ideas are bad, just that some are better than others. So my question is, how do you create or how do you choose certain ideas, and ensure that you're not undermining your members or making them feel bad for not choosing specific ideas that they suggested?
I'm curious, before I bring my opinion, to hear from the ideas from the group around that great question from Raida.
I like to.
You go ahead.
Okay. So I find for myself, one of the big things that help, like if you're trying to narrow down ideas, is just before we do like a brain dump and just start going to town on brainstorming, is to just set some objectives, set some goals. So why are we brainstorming? We're trying to figure out this. We want this. And so when you take all those ideas, that's when you bring back those objectives, and then you could say, okay, so this doesn't fit our criteria. This, as much as like we want to go out and buy the yacht, like will the yacht really do good with what we're trying to do? So just bring some goals, put them aside, and then bring them back helps a lot.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Chloe? Add to that? Yeah, I think Vanessa's ideas, that was great. And adding to what she said, I think that maybe we could also make it a team decision, because it's one thing for maybe the project manager or someone from the exec team to say, well, this idea we won't do, this idea we won't do, and we'll go with this one. And it's different when, as a team, with your associates, you guys sit down and based on the objectives that Vanessa identified, you say, well, this was good, this wasn't, and maybe have the team go through maybe a breakout ideation where instead of adding new ideas, we just narrow them down, right? Because that was part of the first strategy you guys showed us.
Yeah. Great.
And what, just to add on to what Chloe said too, I think it's definitely important to get the whole team involved. Like what we'll do, like if we're picking a t-shirt slogan or something fun like that, we'll get so the breakout teams each pick their top 6 or something crazy so that everyone can get an idea in there. And then we write them on the board and everyone gets 4, which sounds like a lot, but it's pretty good. So you get 4 stars or 4 ticks, and then everyone would just go through and put their tick beside the favorite idea, and then even the people whose idea didn't get chosen feel like they're a part of it because they get to choose other people's ideas, and then you just pick the one with the most ticks, and it's not really singling anybody out, and then it's oh look, this one has so many ticks, that's awesome, and then they're yeah, it's pretty good.
Great. And I couldn't have said it better. And if you go back to the diagram we shared before, there's that divergent, which yes is looking at all the ideas that are possible, and then that emergent zone, which is often the time where yes, you want to talk about the ideas, you want to break out in groups and have conversations to see which ideas seem to be more feasible. But yes, there needs to be that convergent process, which like Hannah suggested, you can use Dotmocracy, and even if you Google it online, convergence process, there's going to be so many other ideas. And so I'm seeing that our time is running short. It was such a pleasure working with you. And my last note for you is that if you bring back the ideas we've generated to your team, they might not feel that they have ownership in those ideas, and they might not understand your reasoning behind them. However, if you bring back the process with your team and you run activities that help them identify their challenge, that help them generate ideas, then you're going to be generating much more ownership and much more empowerment through your teams. So that would be my final note. And for those who want to go further, there's going to be a few opportunity. In parts, you're going to be able to sign up for a best practice exchange with another leader from another team. We mentioned it for those who were at the first session. For those who it's their first session, I'm going to be sharing the link in the chat right now. And you can just sign up, put your email, which institution you're from, and Enactus Canada is going to be sending emails in the upcoming week to connect you 2 by 2, and it's up to you to find the way you want to exchange. You can use Zoom. You can do a walk and talk, meaning you walk on while talking on the phone. You can just do a phone call, whatever feels right to you. So you can coordinate. It's completely optional. So the link is in the chat if you want to join. And if not, I might pass it to Erin to say a few words on next Tuesday's session, where you'll be able to apply everything we've done today.
So sorry to interrupt, but the link is not working on my end. I'm getting an error.
I believe you have to copy the entire link that is there, not only click on the existing hyperlink, because after the existing hyperlink, there is some more. So after I copied and pasted that whole thing, it did work.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Sander.
Yeah, no worries, Messa.
I will also circulate this via email to everyone who participated today. So even if you miss it here in the chat, you can still sign up later. Thank you everyone for participating and being very engaging and open today. Thank you to Clément and Mazdak for facilitating our sessions today. If everyone thought Clément and Mazdak done a great job, you can say thanks in the chat to show your appreciation. With the sessions coming up next week, on Tuesday we have our best practice sharing session. So that's your opportunity to connect with each other. It's going to be all about you guys interacting and networking with each other. I implore you to, if you enjoyed today's sessions, to encourage other members on your team to sign up for those sessions on Tuesdays. We have 7 different breakout rooms going on 7 different topics. And it's just a great opportunity to get many members on your team engaged and signing up for specific breakout rooms on topics that they may be interested in. If you don't really know what I'm talking about, if you want more information on the best practice sharing session, if you register for the event, or presidents would have gotten all the information anyway, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, email your program manager this evening and we will send you all the information you need on what the sessions are, how you can register, and how you can attend. We'll be back then on Thursday for the final session with Clément and Mazdak again on how to create ripple effects within your team. So that's going to be 6 to 7:30 on Tuesday. I encourage everyone who attended here today to attend that session. If you're a leader on your team, if you're the incoming president, if you're vice president, if you have a leadership role on your team, this is the session that you want to attend. So with that, once again, thank you everyone. Have a good evening, and we hope to see many of your faces again next week.
Well, thank you so much, Erin. Thank you so much, Clément. Just I want to add on the Thursday session. It's going to be a really good session. It's about how to be leaders as coaches and how to create that ripple effect toward your team. So me and Clément looking forward to see you guys on the Thursday session.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you
So much. Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you.